All right, everyone. Welcome back for another, hopefully, action filled, well, exciting episode anyway. I don't know if it'll really be action filled because it's harvesting. Uh, I'm doing an experiment right now. I'm hoping that you can't hear the washing machine in the background. So hopefully that's not an issue. I guess if it is, I will learn not to do that. But I just got excited and wanted to go ahead and record this, but I don't know why steering assist grid turned off. But hold on, I gotta. Oh, here's my. I always reach too high to find my. I always reach too high to find my volume control on my headset. I don't know why, but it never fails. It's always too high for me. Gotta remember that it's on the lower part. It might be because I'm getting used to a newer headset. Well, a new headset, I should say. Um, I did go ahead and before I started this episode, if we hurry up and get it done, I think we could think the grocery mart right across the street there is honestly gonna be our best bet money wise. The sole fact that they're currently the highest, even though the prices are dropping. And I'm a little excited because I think we might finally be able to buy that field across the road. Excuse me. But allergies and asthma and stuff kind of started acting up a little bit. His dad and I were out tromping through some. weren't They were chest high. They weren't quite shoulder high. They were chest high weeds. Looking at a cultivator. So that has all that fun stuff acting up on me right now. Surprisingly, I'm not congested or anything. It's just my lungs aren't too happy at the moment, but nothing I haven't dealt with before. But as I was saying, I was hoping that we could get this harvested really quickly, get over to the grocery mart, and hopefully go ahead and end up buying that field. All depends on how long the episode takes. If I recall correctly, they have barley or oats or something. Something that would have to be harvested like next summer, planted currently. I don't think I'm gonna go through and tear it up or anything. I'll just leave it the way it is. Might as well throw that little bit of profit that I will be getting right into the pot. Start towards our goal again, you know. If I was doing it 100% realistic, I would probably go through and cultivate it or whatever, and then go through and plant whatever after that. But since I only do things semi-realistically, I'm gonna keep that crop. Because normally, the farmer that sells the land or has a lease coming up does get to take their last crop that they planted off before the next farmer can do anything. So, let's say some guy that you don't like outbid you, and your current landlord says he's going with that guy for the lease for next year. You could be rude and plant winter wheat or whatever, and make them wait if the contract's drawn up correctly, because most of the time unless things have changed, it's March 1st to March 1st or something like that, you know. Because usually March is about the earliest you can start doing field work where I'm at anyway. Excuse me again. Sorry about that. But I'm also kind of in one of those weird climates where sometimes it stays below or stays right at freezing or below freezing until like April 1st. Then the next year it might be hitting 80 degrees regularly by middle of March. So it's just one of those things you never really know for sure here, but most guys, at least in their corn stalks, do rent those out to farmers or ranchers, whatever, so that they can turn their cows out into them. Go get any corn that might have dropped or whatever, you know. Just kind of clean things up a little bit. Yeah, and the wash raining, and it's not registering on OBS anyway, so maybe that's because I have the mic set to only record like what's in front of it, and it might be just far enough away that it isn't gonna affect anything. I guess we'll find out. I just had the idea in my head, got real excited and wanted to get this episode knocked out really quick like, because I actually did sit down and do some editing for an actual title card as well, instead of just the generic screenshots that I've been using. So I'm kind of slowly getting there, get things figured out a little bit more. I think my whole thing was that I thought it was a lot more difficult, so I was kind of intimidated by it, where right now I'm taking more of a basic kind of approach, just for learning purposes, kind of ease into it, get comfortable with what I'm doing, and then I might decide, hey, I'm going to cut this clip here and try to insert this little funny clip or whatever, you know. So, slowly but surely, I never set out to, make this video editing thing an actual profession or anything. It's purely for entertainment slash hobby purposes. I never thought that I'd even do this. When I first made the channel, it's like, oh yeah, I might be off a whole year or whatever. I might have to take leave of absence for a full year. But I got back to work right after I decided to make this channel. So finally, about a year later, I decided to go ahead and start up and figure it all out. But now we're starting to get some of the spin from the washer, so we'll see. I don't think it'll be necessarily super loud. Mainly because of the distance. Earlier when I was messing around kind of with me kind of staging what ended up being the title card and stuff, my dad was out mowing. That kind of picked it up, but he was also going right past the window that's a lot closer to the mic than the washer is too. So I guess we'll just find out. That's it. If it does end up causing a bunch of noise, I'll post it anyway. 'Cause I'm not gonna. Well, I mean, I could. I have a save point right before this, but I'll honestly probably save right after I end this episode. That way I can kind of make sure I don't lose any progress. Kind of monitoring my mic. I could tap it and mute it real quick if need be. Sounds like the washer's seen it. getting up to pretty good speed, so unless something really starts clunking around, I don't think it'll be an issue. Yeah, not even a little, not even a little bit of a wiggle. I guess one thing I could do here real quick, probably turn my gain down just a little bit. That way it is a little harder for that washer noise to be picked up. And it doesn't look, well, I guess I have two channels, so even if I am a little quieter in OBS, once I get into DaVinci, I could increase the volume of my mic track a little bit too. The crazy thing is, like, and I just learned this, I've tried to having more than one audio track when I or recorded through OBS, and apparently like the default video player in Windows will only play one of the tracks. So I have messed with it before but thought it wasn't working, where if I would have probably uploaded it to, or pivoted over to DaVinci, it probably would have been working the whole time, which I found out by doing a little bit of Google. I did have to actually probably open the file in DaVinci to actually end up seeing and hearing both tracks. So that whole time I was thinking, oh well, it's not working like it's supposed to because I can only hear the gameplay audio. Then I moved it over to DaVinci, and then right there, just like magic, was the second track, and my voice. So, live and learn, I guess. Yeah, try and do this one left-handed. I'm checking my phone, being bad host. Such is life. Not perfect. No, I didn't want to fold. I wanted to lift. Turn off harvester. I'll do like I've done previously. Go take the header off, pull the combine around. And I'll go ahead and there, close enough for me. Oh, I overshot it. Snap in feature fixes it. Well, I guess I would try to blow everyone's eardrums out with that. I didn't have the camera quite high enough, I guess, or far enough out, or whatever. So that one's all on me. And in true Prairie Sky Farms tradition, once I get this thing turned around and unloaded, you could bet I'm just gonna go flying towards the barn there and try to get the combine slammed in there on our first shot. I think that's kind of become a thing too. Unfortunately, once I get rid of this nasty and upgrade, once I get rid of the massey and upgrade, I don't think I'll be able to do that. But I think anything bigger than it is going to be too big for that barn. I honestly can't remember for sure. In previous playthroughs, I usually kind of say screw it, put a bunch of money makers down and upgrade everything. So I could be wrong. Alright. Yeah, getting a step ahead of myself. Now I can fold. Let's see here, without moving camera angle and everything. I think I'm gonna call that good. We're gonna yeet her. Yeet! Here it comes. Darn. We might get a couple more shots at it before we end up upgrading. I haven't decided if I want just one field or if I want to buy both those bigger fields over there or not. I have yet to decide. I almost freaked out because I heard some weird noise, but I think that was the sprinkler finally getting shut off that I was actually supposed to. Oh, I was messing with my mic and not paying attention to where I was going. But I heard a noise, like, what the heck was that? It was a sprinkler on the garden that I forgot to remind Dad about. Alrighty. Yeah, I know I could have unloaded and wouldn't have made a difference. I'm being picky, dang it. Too picky. Because now I'm saying screw it. That's close enough. And now let's see. And there's our magical $650,000 mark. Sorry, I thought I felt a sneeze coming on. I'm gonna pop. Well, I guess that's a good experiment to see how much noise actually translates from the tap to mute, because I just tried it because that sneeze that I thought was coming on in fact did come on, and I didn't want to blow anyone's eardrums out. Because I unintentionally do that enough with the way I back into buildings and stuff. Case in point. Let's say what the heck. Go. For some reason, I have forgotten how to back a trailer, which makes no sense. I can pretty much chalk it all up to me just trying to go too fast. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I will have to plow to get rid of tram lines. Yeah, got barley growing. So I guess just time to go in and make it official. We'll go through, we'll be lazy and purchase the soil info. Of course, our score ends up taking a bit of a hit, but we finally own it. I think we will go we'll go hook up to the spreader, spread some lime, and depending how long that takes, that might be a good quitting point. And I honestly don't remember if we can spread lime when there's a crop in the ground, but I know you wouldn't really actually do it in real life because you kind of want that before you go do any planting or anything, just so it gets worked in the ground better. But I would like to kind of start improving the soil as much as possible, you know. I know we'll only be able to go so fast when it's running, but this does take a bit of a wider swath. Oh, I guess this one goes faster than I was remembering. For some reason I was thinking we were going to be limited to like 7 miles an hour. So this one might not take quite as long as I was thinking. The only thing is I might end up having to lease a fertilizer spreader. That way I can kind of get a little bit more of a benefit there. But like I said, that'll probably be a lease thing because I'll only use it for this because we'll go back to planting soybeans after the next year, you know. I haven't decided yet. Eventually it might be worth looking into planting oilseed radishes, but I'm not 100% sure yet. If I do it early enough in the year, I could get a little bit of a government subsidy, but that also adds a little more work and stuff. It would probably also require adding more equipment. I think I'd have to have a drill for that maybe instead of a planter. So that kind of limits things there a little too, unfortunately. But we'll eventually get to the point where we'll need both. Because I could halfway simulate real life by planting 2 of our 4 fields to corn one year and planting them to beans the next, you know, rotate like farmers do. Because really in real life, most of the time you wouldn't go through and plant everything back to back to back constantly either. Well, I mean, you could. You just end up having to start getting a expensive fertilizer bill and stuff like that. Where I'm at, a lot of farmers do actually still plant wheat to kind of have a little bit of a summer follow thing going on. They might not necessarily let it sit unplanted for a year like true summer follow does, but it does give the field a break from, say, like corn or whatever, and does allow some of that corn residue to actually break down and be reabsorbed again. All sorts of interesting science stuff that I don't really know a whole heck of a lot about, actually. That's where my brother comes into play, because he used to work directly in that field where I can run equipment is basically what it is. I can run the equipment, or most of it, and sometimes it's a case of, oh, I haven't done this forever, and then you crawl right back in, and it's like, oh, that wasn't so bad after all, you know. One thing I probably will have to eventually learn is how to plant corn. I've never ran a planter. I moved them and stuff. I've just never ran one. Um, oh, now you're picking up on it. So maybe it was picking up the whole time, and I was just talking over it. Yeah, I see just a little bit of it, but anyway, I think I was gonna, after I drive like a crazy man, call it a day with this. We've hit our major milestone, so I'd say with our harvest and getting that field halfway prepped, we got a good starting point. Or, well, not really a starting point. We've been at it for a few seasons already, or in-game seasons. I haven't really ever broke the game down into season 1, season 2, or anything. Otherwise, I'd have a lot of folders on my computer, a lot of different playlists on YouTube, but that's okay. Oh no. Good enough. And maybe it was just the first couple initial ones. Maybe nothing else really got picked up. Oh, there it's going more aggressive again. But anyway, now that we got everything harvested and our field purchased, I think we're going to be able to call this a day, and I will catch you in the next episode.